Those who are familiar with psychedelics would have noticed the familiar patterns within the fractals displayed in the previous episodes. For those who are not familiar with psychedelics, let me preface this by saying that people will use labels to discriminate and misinform.
Leading medical researchers are coming to the conclusion that marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States, and we haven't begun to find out all of the ill effects, but they are permanent ill effects.
The term drug should not be applied to psychedelics for reasons you will see by the end of this video or perhaps by the end of this series. New findings suggest that it was the integration of psychedelics into the habitual diets that led to higher intelligence that we have now as a species. The fossil record shows that we humans are so easily caught in a specific routine that we do not change our habitual routines for a very long time.
If you go into the human family tree, you'll find that it's roughly a 6 million year story from the last common ancestor with the chimpanzee to fully anatomically modern human beings today. It's almost entirely 6 million years of boredom. We didn't do anything in the way of tools until about 2.5 million years ago. This was the sum total of human creativity for more than 1 million years. Before that, there were no tools, from 2.5 million to 1.65 million years ago. Then we have a change from this very simple technology. We get slightly better tools. It's called the Acheulean stone tool tradition. Again, it's all over the world. And that runs without any change from 1.65 million years ago down to 250,000 years ago. It's as though our ancestor got stuck in a rigid frame of mind, absolutely nailed to the tracks, and were unable to expand their minds and open their ideas to other things.
And this is a trait we see in humans to this very day. The fact that we are stuck in a rudimentary way of existence and we just don't feel the need to change. Right up till the time era of 75,000 to 55,000 BC, we suddenly see around the world an explosion of rock and cave art, jewelry, dolls, and signs of a religious system of beliefs.
This explosion of creative power was accompanied by other symbolic acts, notably the first definite evidence for the burial of the dead with grave goods.
The rock and cave art paintings around the world showcase more than just stories of hunting and gathering.
The artists have made use of every feature of the cave wall to enhance the power of their art, and often there are very strange features. Look at the antlers on this stag. That is not a depiction of reality. That's a stag which you're not going to see out there on the hunt. And then the handprints. And what I've found, and other researchers have found, when you enter these caves, and particularly when you look at the handprints, you get a sudden eerie impression. It feels like somebody's got their hand on the other side of the wall, and you're seeing it. It's like the cave wall is a membrane that separates you from another world, from another realm. And that's really the powerful impression that comes through from visiting these caves.
We see depictions of strange figures that are hybrids of different animals and men.
Mainstream academia has accepted for about the last 20 years what is called the neuropsychological theory of cave art. The belief now, from an enormous amount of studies, is that what we are looking at is the work of ancient shamans who were depicting what they saw in their visions. And we can understand more about it by looking at shamans still working and creating art today. The one universal feature of all shamanism is the altered state of consciousness. The most widely used method by shamans around the world to get into altered states of consciousness is the use of hallucinogenic plants. The use of mushrooms, very ancient in Central America, was discovered by Gordon Wasson, the ethnobotanist, in the 1950s to still be going on amongst certain tribes in Mexico. And he published a big article in Life magazine, and it's only since then that the psychedelic properties of mushrooms have been rediscovered by the West, but they were certainly in use in ancient times.
We see illustrations of these psychedelic mushrooms within the rock and cave art as well. The oldest art of the earliest religions speak for themselves, as we see evidence for psychedelic use within each religion and each culture. The most intriguing to me is the Gnostics' depiction of the fruit of knowledge. It is depicted as a very specific red-capped and white-spotted mushroom that is native to the region where that religion was founded. This mushroom is known as the Amanita muscara, one of the most potent psychedelic mushrooms in the world. And here we have it in the arts of the earliest sects of Christianity. They describe the story of Adam and Eve in a whole new light. They describe the serpent as the good guy and the god, the Abrahamic god, as a demiurge, an imposter posing as God, tricking both Adam and Eve to remain in La La Land, punishing them when they eat the fruit of knowledge, punishing them for seeing past his illusion. So if we go to Egypt, we will find hieroglyphs depicting various psychedelics, such as the Vacatula nilotica and the blue water lily, both of which are psychedelics. The Vacatia nilotica in particular contains DMT. Dimethyltryptamine is known to be the most powerful psychedelic in the world, yet our brains produce it every night when we are sleeping. It facilitates our dream states and is theorized by Dr. Rick Strassman to be produced by the pineal gland. The pineal gland is regarded as the third eye amongst various ancient cultures. Symbolism regarding the third eye can even be found in cultures that exist today. Stimulation of DMT can be caused by various ways, which include deprivation for necessities of survival, meditation, dream states, and during death. An amazing subject that we will return to in later videos. If these visionary states are hallucinations, as our societies label them, then why is there a fractal geometric recurrence during every experience with psychedelics? We now know that these shapes and images are not random. They pertain to a system of mathematics that describes nature's formations and causalities. Researchers show that the brain filters out a massive amount of information to keep us from sensory overload. The brain quite literally acts as a transceiver of information. Perhaps psychedelics allow the brain to slightly widen its perceptual awareness, allowing much more information to flow in, allowing us humans to become visually aware of the surrounding fractal universe that we inhabit. It was this widening of awareness that allowed neurogenesis to take place, enabling our species with higher intelligence over generations of integration with these psychedelics. Our evolution shifted from a physical focus to a psychological focus. The relationship between our ancestors and fungi is showcased throughout the arts in various cultures around the world, suggesting that all religions and mythical traditions stem from the integration of psychedelics in the ancient times. The shamanic tradition maintains in different tribes around the world who use their own method of stimulating psychedelic experiences to connect with the higher power or the higher dimensions.